100 years ago, Nikola Tesla discovered a healing technology that threatened the entire pharmaceutical industry. The day he died, the government seized everything. For 100 years, this technology was hidden. Until now, plasma is back. Tesla Club, tzla.club.
How's it going, everyone? Hope you're well. The world's going to war again then. Not that they want to. None of us want to. The Americans don't want to. The American people don't want to. But the parasite class want to. Demonically possessed messianic nutcases, billionaires, paedophiles and Satanists. That's who wants to go to war. They've tried their best to manufacture consent and they've failed. They've absolutely failed at that. Iran's trying to build a nuclear weapon. It's 2 weeks away. Yeah, I've been saying that for 40 years, mate. 40 years. Who bombs a nation during a negotiation? Just during the negotiation, talking about things, bang, then bang. Israel just attacks Iran. Because they feel like they can do what they want. Because they've always been allowed to do what they want. And don't you dare say anything about it. That's antiseptic. I'm done with it, folks. I really am done with it. It's been coming for a long time. We've been talking about it for ages. It's the inevitable thing. You know, I made a video in Mexico last week. You know, if all else fails, they take you to war. And here we are. They tried to manufacture consent, as I say, with this nonsense about the 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon. No one bought it because it's been 40 years worth of lies on that front. And then a couple of days ago you had Marco Rubio. He's another one who's done the humiliation ritual, the submission ritual of licking the Roman fort wall in Jerusalem. It's embarrassing. He comes out and says, oh, Iran's got missiles that can hit our military personnel and our bases and our navy. What, the military bases and navy that are surrounding Iran? So, hang on, so that's the excuse we're using now, is it? You surround a country and then say they're able to hit us. Well, of course they are. You've surrounded them. Could you imagine Iranian bases being in Mexico or Canada or Cuba and what would be said as a result of that? But nah, American military bases everywhere. And they're not American military bases anyway, are they? Let's have it right. Because the American military isn't for the interests of America. It doesn't fight for America. It fights for its governor, for its boss, which is this tiny little sliver of land in the Middle East that you can drive around in a day. That's the real most powerful nation in the world. The Americans can give it that all they want. We're, you know, the land of the free, the most powerful nation in the world. The president is the most powerful man in the world. You're having a laugh. You're having a laugh, aren't you? Donald Trump doesn't fart without asking for permission from Israel. So frustrating. Because this is just going to escalate and escalate and escalate. And the thing is, like I say, they've not manufactured consent. No one wants this war. Because this current administration in the US got elected off the back of there being no more wars. No more foreign wars, they said. Repeatedly. And you know what? Is actually more, the most messed up thing about that statement is that people believed it. People genuinely believed it when they said no more foreign wars. Wow. It's insane. But what they're going to do now, and this is the tactical move, you see, is they've got all these troops in the Middle East, the US, and they've got the USS Gerald Ford, but they've not parked it off the coast of Iran, ready to strike Iran. They've parked it off the coast of Israel. So they know that when Israel strikes Iran, as they have done now, unprovoked, completely unprovoked, it's a premeditated strike, a preemptive strike, sorry, that's what they say, preemptive, that's it. So if I go up to someone in a pub and smack him with an ashtray, if the police come and arrest me, I can just say it was a preemptive strike, and then it's fine. What a preemptive strike means is I'm going to smack you first, I'm going to attack you, but I'm going to claim that I'm still the victim. And that's what we've seen. We've seen Israelis posting, Israeli military personnel posting pray for us after you've just bombed a country. Okay. But what they've done, they knew of, obviously, the Americans, they knew that Israel was going to go and hit Iran. So they've got all their personnel, their aircraft carrier and all their planes and stuff in Israel and off the coast of Israel, safe in the knowledge that when Iran responds, as they inevitably will, as anyone would if they've just got bombed a school as well. It's okay when we do it though, it's okay when we do it. Then when Iran responds, they'll hit American warships or they'll hit American warplanes, they'll kill Americans. Well, there's your manufactured consent, folks. You'll see a lot of Americans then coming out going, oh man, they killed our man, right, that's it, we got to go for Iran. Yeah, well, it was sort of set up like that on purpose. And actually, to be honest, Iran doesn't even need to hit the American warships or the American personnel. Israel can just hit them and take out the middleman. Israel can just hit them, say it was Iran, and then you've got your consent. Mate, they've got history. Google the USS Liberty. They've done it before, mate. Like I say, they bombed a school, killed a load of kids already. And then they'll say, oh, they hate us for our freedoms. Yeah, these Arabs, these Muslims, these people in the Middle East, they hate us for our freedoms. Yeah, it's the freedoms. What freedoms are they, mate? Because ours are eroded. They don't hate us for our freedoms, mate. They hate us because our nations are literally controlled by messianic nut jobs, paedophiles, Satanists, and demons. That's why they hate us. Because we're the real axis of evil. Not the people, not me and you, but our nations are. 100% they are. And I've seen this movie before. I was in America touring in a punk band I used to be in. In 2002, we were in Chicago. It's about 50,000 people on the streets of Chicago protesting against the Iraq war because they knew what was going to happen. Because it happens every time. Vietnam, it happens every single time. And what was Iraq? Over 1 million dead. Conservative estimate, over 1 million dead. But these people don't care. These demons don't care. And the mainstream media bobbleheads don't care. And the influencers on the payroll don't care. And your likes of Reform and the Conservative Party and everyone else, they don't care either. You've already had Richard Tice, the wall licker, and Farage coming out saying, oh, you know, thanks. That's what Richard Tice said. Thanks to Israel and America. Thanks for going and murdering a load of people thousands of miles away. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. But the thing is with war, it's not just the death and destruction of all these people, which is obviously horrendous in itself. And then there's retaliations which lead to death and destruction, which is horrific, of course. But it's where it leads the world. Because nothing changes the world quite like a war. Not as quickly anyway, as a war. I mean, you can gradually do things over the decades, and we've seen that in our own countries. How certain things have changed, our freedoms have eroded, freedom of speech has eroded. Lots of stuff changes over decades. And it's a gradual thing. But these people are impatient. So if you have a war only needs to last, what, 6 months to a year? You can change the world in that time. So what happens off the back of this? Because this is what gets me. You had the likes of Farage and Trump calling out the Iraq war after it happened, and, you know, the devastation had been revealed. The devastation that a lot of us knew would happen, hence why we were on the streets protesting it. But it had already happened. So therefore, your likes of Trump and your likes of Farage, they could come out and say, this was awful, what a bad idea. We shouldn't be getting involved in foreign wars. Look at what happened in Iraq. Didn't say anything at the time, they never do. But what are they doing now? Well, Trump's doing it. Of course he is. And it'll end Trump's presidency. It'll be him finished. This, in the end. If it goes into a major conflict, like it looks like it will, it's the end of Trump. And you think to yourself, well, why would a narcissistic sociopath like Donald Trump do something that will end him? Well, because he knows if he doesn't, then he's seriously ended. Because I'm not a coincidence theorist. There is no mistake that the release of these Epstein files and that whole thing that's going on at the moment is intrinsically connected with the timing of this attack on Iran. Not to mention that the attack happened at the time of a very important Jewish holiday. That's why Israel did it, because dates matter to these maniacs. Lives don't. No, they're irrelevant. But dates matter. Symbolism matters. So Trump, obviously, he was anti-Iraq war when it was, you know, after the event. Yeah, he's gone and done this. Farage was anti-Iraq war after the event, as they always are, and now he's supporting this. Same with Tyson Co. Same with your so-called patriot influencers. They're all behind it. Your Tommy Robinson's are loving it. He's in America now, probably high-fiving. This is great. And you go, okay. So, apart from the death and destruction of people in Iran and people in Israel, innocent people in Israel, innocent people in Iran, and other surrounding nations, American servicemen and women, probably the Brits in the end, because we'll no doubt get involved, because that's how it goes. They'll try and manufacture consent in some way, either by there being a false flag attack on Britain by Iran, or the Ukrainian rent boy compromat coming to the fore to concentrate the mind on jumping on board, or something like the Chinese or the Russians coming in on the side of Iran, and therefore Britain getting involved and NATO getting involved and whatever. So no doubt we'll get roped into it as well. So got all that death and destruction of all these different countries, the economic destruction that comes with a war, because wars are very expensive. They always find the money for them though, don't they? We haven't got any money to keep Granny warm this winter, have we? Nah, afraid not, love. Nah. No money for homeless people. Got money for bombs though. So you've got all the economic damage, as well as the physical damage. You've got the shortages of oil and energy, obviously coming from that region. So you're going to end up with energy blackouts. Bear in mind, everything is electronic now and everything is online. You know, you'll end up with massive blackouts and collapses of infrastructure, which will affect people. Probably end up killing people, but who cares, right? And then on top of that, I'm walking slowly now because it's dead muddy. On top of that, as always, you'll have a mass influx of immigration from the Middle East, from Iran and from surrounding nations, whoever else Israel decides to bomb. I think they've bombed 7 countries in the last year. Do what they like, can't they? They've got the Epstein files, they know who's in them. And they have the power to unredact them. So, of course, they can bomb who they like. But, of course, you'll have that mass immigration. And then what's hilarious is all these patriots, self-described patriots, that are all now cheering on the war, they'll all start moaning, won't they? They'll all start moaning when all the immigrants start arriving at the shore. Of course they will. But then that's the grift. So actually it works out well for them. They take an issue of mass immigration, which is an issue. They take that mass issue that people have a problem with, they jump on it, they exploit it, they make money off it, then they go off and they cheer on Israel, they make money off that, cheer on America and America's wars for Israel, they make money off that, they get algorithmically boosted for that, which makes money out of that. And then when those wars lead to more mass immigration, you'd think they'd have some foresight, but actually they probably have got foresight, because what happens is when that mass immigration comes in and the problem of mass immigration gets bigger and people start shouting louder and louder and louder about it, they'll be there to clean up on that as well. I've been saying it for years. Finally people are waking up to the problem. Yeah, but it's a problem that's been exacerbated by something that you cheered on, Mr. and Mrs. Patriot. Sorry, just had a couple of kids walk past walking a dog. Don't want to be ranting about death and destruction and war in front of kids. They don't need to know about it until it comes to their front door, which is what happens if we let these demons run the asylum. Seem a bit down today, don't I, folks? Bit Debbie Downer. I am a bit, to be honest. Frustrated, actually, more than down. I mean, of course I'm upset, and when I saw the fact that they'd already bombed a school and killed a bunch of kids, I'm like, do you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's just so frustrating. Because it doesn't need to be like this. This is the point. It doesn't need to be like this. No one wants this. That's what's so frustrating. You know, if say 98% or 99% of the world wanted death and destruction, and there's me and you and a handful of others going, oh mate, you're a massive minority. And so when that's the case, you can understand why it's happening, because you're like, well, the majority want it, so they're forcing it through. But in this situation, the massive, overwhelming majority, with the exception of psychopaths, nutcases, paedophiles, messianic weirdos, billionaires with you know, arms manufacturer profits in their mind and all that sort of stuff, with the exception of them, no one wants it. And that's what's so frustrating, because then you think to yourself, well, why is it allowed to happen? Why does it always happen when the overwhelming majority don't want it? Are we not loud enough? Do we not speak with our feet enough? Do we not speak with our wallets enough? What is it we're doing wrong? It feels like it's a mental asylum, and it doesn't need to be one. There's enough people, there's enough sane people. It's like everything is inverted in the world, and it's meant to be that way. It's built that way on purpose, or at least it's been manoeuvred to be that way on purpose. But at the moment, it's like the sane people are the ones in the padded cells. I mean, it's a very beautiful padded cell, but it's a padded cell nonetheless. And it's the lunatics, the complete psychopaths and demons, they're the ones at the wheel. Well, I guess we just see where it goes now, don't we, folks? But it don't look good. It really doesn't look good. And let's hope people stand up. Let's hope people take to the streets like they did against the Iraq War. And just hope it actually makes a difference. I had to stop again. Seems like there's loads of kids out today, which is nice, to be fair. It's better than them sitting at home on their Xboxes or whatever. It's actually nice weather as well, isn't it? But on the subject of mass immigration though, like I'm saying, you know, isn't it weird that you've got all these so-called patriots that are cheering on more wars in the Middle East when they know that that will lead to more mass immigration into Europe and into the UK? But then they're on the payroll of these people. That's why they're so elevated. They're there to polarise and divide. That's the whole point of them. They don't actually care about the country, and they don't care about you, they don't care about me. They don't really care about themselves, to be fair, because they've got no shame. They've got no self-respect. But when I'm saying earlier about the fact that it kind of ticks so many boxes of course, like the death and destruction and the financial, you know, economic problems that it causes, and the food shortages and the energy shortages and all this sort of stuff that come out of a mass war, certainly one that comes out of the Middle East, just because of the amount of energy that comes out of there. And then of course you've got the mass immigration, which is you know, a changing of demographics, which of course has been a plan for decades and decades. But also what you get, got a train coming, also what you get off the back of that is you get more excuse for things like digital ID. Because suddenly you've got thousands and thousands and thousands of people, undocumented people, coming in at once into Europe and into the United Kingdom, fleeing conflict. Some of them will be chances, I guess, but you can then say, well, not only have we got all these you know, immigrants coming in, we don't know who they are, but also a lot of these people could be part of the Iranian regime, and they've snuck out to evade justice. And they'll be setting up terror cells in the UK, terror cells in Europe. So what we're going to need to do, we're going to need to implement, you know, more draconian measures and digital ID, so we know who everyone is and where everyone is at all time. We're going to have to increase surveillance, more stop and searches, more facial recognition everywhere, so that we know who everyone is and where they're going, and all that kind of stuff. And we might have to introduce some kind of curfew as well. And we'll probably have to do that anyway because of the energy collapsing. So we're going to have blackouts at certain times where we shut things down. You know, energy infrastructure lockdowns. All these things can come off the back of this conflict if it escalates. Because think about the players that are involved here. Iran is not Iraq. Iran is not Afghanistan. It's a major country with a major military. And so you've got obviously Britain and all the rest of Europe and NATO and the US and Israel calling the shots because it owns all of them. And you've got Russia, another major nation. You've got China, major nation. You got North Korea, who aren't playing games either. You can see how they'll move the chess pieces to put the sides together. And they've done it because this is all long planned, folks. They've done that through sanctions. They pushed China and Iran and Russia together. And I remember seeing like economists and you know, so-called political experts or military experts saying, I don't understand why they're doing that. It's weird that they would be doing things that are pushing these nations closer together to build an alliance. Well, yeah, it's weird unless your plan is to basically destroy everything. And that includes the United States of America, and that includes Great Britain. It includes Israel. Because if you want a great reset, if you want to build back better from the ashes, well, you can't build from the ashes if things are still standing. You've got to drag it all down. You can't just drag some of it down, you've got to drag all of it down. And so, I think that's where a lot of my frustration comes from, folks. Is seeing how much people are cheering it on and how much people are enjoying it and saying, yeah, go on. I mean, just cheering on death and destruction is mental anyway, but to cheer on your own destruction, well, that's something else, folks. That's something else. So, like I say, who knows? Guess we just watch where it goes and do what we can do, speak as loud as we can. Of course, all the mass censorship and stuff that's come in, and the taking over of TikTok and you know, CBS and Musk's Twitter takeover and, you know, all this stuff. Been saying for a long time that this shutting down of free speech when it comes to the state of Israel was nothing to do with what was going on in Gaza. Because that horse had bolted, that was done. What would be the point in shutting down dialogue and shutting down voices, calling out what had happened in Gaza over the last 2 years? We've already seen it. It's already out there. Been saying for a while, for a fair while, that this mass censorship, this mass takeover of these different companies, CNN as well, taken over by Larry Ellison, same as TikTok, like I say, that this mass censorship was not about what had happened before. It was about what was about to happen. It was a preemptive strike on our tongues to shut us up, to stop us calling out what they're doing before they do it. Oh mate, it's frustrating.
Thank you very much for watching and subscribing to my YouTube channel. If you'd like to take a look at all the other things that I do, the content like weekly shows and documentaries that I create, please check out my Linktree link in the description below.